What up in the book club? We getting lit, we reading books, we are buying books faster than the rate we can read them. Because we're toxic. Whoa, jumped the gun there a bit. Today I'm gonna be talking about some of my toxic reader traits. These are things that I do that I deem a little bit on the questionable side. They're not bad, they're not necessarily good either. I was just thinking the other day about my reading life and the weird things that I do within this bubble of books, and I wanted to put them all on display today and pretty much roast myself because it can't be a Jesse the Reader video if I'm not roasting myself. Right? Let me know in the comments down below if you guys share any of my toxic reader traits. I think the one thing that I'm the most guilty of is just making reading my entire personality. But that one I just can't help. I've dug myself into a hole and I just can't seem to get myself out. Let's get started. Having an elevator pitch ready when somebody asks me what my favorite book is. I'm known as the reader in my family, and all my family's friends, all my family's coworkers know of me as the reader. And over the years when I meet these people, I've realized that they come at me with book questions. Every time I meet one of my family's friends, I know I'm about to play 20 questions book edition. The one that I get the most is what is your favorite book? The question that is known to hit readers with an anxiety attack. Because how is one able to pick a favorite book out of all of the books that we read? Thankfully, I'm a basic boy. I know what I like, I know what I love, I know my favorite book. Y'all know it too because I haven't been able to shut up about it since I read it. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Because I'm a shy, introverted boy who gets the life sucked out of him with every conversation, I figured out the solution for having my soul sucked is to come prepared. So it goes a little something like this. What's your favorite book? Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's about a boy whose grandfather passes away, and after his passing, he goes on a journey to unlock his grandfather's past. Bim, bam, boom. Obviously, there's a lot more to the story, but that's all they need to know. Not being able to answer when somebody asks me what a book is about. This one is something that I should be good about. Sure, I can give you a description on what my favorite book is about. Easy peasy, I'm up for the challenge. And you'd think that I'd be like, oh, you want to know what this book is about? I got you. But no, boo. Unlike having an elevator pitch ready for my favorite book when asked about it, if someone were to come to my shelf, pick out a random book and be like, what's this about? I'd fall to the ground in panic because I'm the worst at describing books on the spot. A part of me just wants to be sassy and just be like, flip that book open and find out for yourself, you nasty. I feel like more times than not, I'll just take a whack at describing it and just completely butchering it to the point of just lying as to what it's about. I don't mean to lie. I'm just in the moment, panicking, picking up on whatever element I can think of to string together some kind of cohesive description. To my defense, some of these book descriptions these days are trash. How am I supposed to explain the concepts to people when I myself get confused reading descriptions? That's what I want to know. My book annotations. I love annotating books. I write all over them from front to back, from beginning to end, underlining, highlighting, tabbing, basically marking my territory on the book with annotations. The thing is, while most of the time I am writing things like, oh, this was structurally interesting and this is why. This bit of writing filled my heart with love and this is why. I also slip into nonsense territory when annotating. Saying things like, they did that. Slay! Another slay! Oh my gosh, LOL. Screaming, crying, sobbing. Stop, I'm dead, that's so good. I'm gonna be looking back at these books that I annotated and just be like, bruh, what were you thinking? I know you got nothing going on out there, but what the heck? But I just can't help myself because sometimes I'm just in the moment, I'm like, slay, must write down slay. Slay, author, slay. And instead of letting those thoughts stay in my head, I write them all over my books. In 50 years, when I'm dead and gone and my collection is passed on, someone's gonna pick up one of my annotated books and wonder who in the heck would write those things in the margins. I should start writing letters to the future owner of my book collection and just be like, I'm sorry for what you're about to read. Just ignore all my writing, please. Just let me rest in peace. Owning too many bookmarks when I hardly use them. Why do I feel the need to have so many bookmarks? Who, in their right mind, has this many bookmarks? Who? When I pick up a book, read it, and get to a stopping point, I don't even go looking for a bookmark. I just look for something around me in the moment to stick in my book. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll replace that with a bookmark when I get the chance. But do I ever replace it with an actual bookmark? Absolutely not. I just keep whatever I found around me in the book. I should honestly just get rid of all of these bookmarks because there's just no reason for me to keep them. And yet, my toxic trait is that I have a weird attachment to them. And another toxic trait is that I keep obtaining them and collecting them. And for what? Sometimes when I go to a bookshop and I'm not buying a book, I'll leave with a bookmark. That's where I'm at, guys. That's the level of terrible I've hit. Ooh, look at this bookmark. It has my face on it. Zoom in, zoom out. Look, it's me. Well, when I used to have that hair, but then I decided that my forehead's too big, so I need to cover my forehead with my bangs. The more you know. TMI. Just telling you guys everything. I'm done. buying a special edition of a book before I've read it. This is something that you guys get on to me a lot about. You're like, you haven't even read that book. What if you hate it? And I agree with you guys. I see your point. I understand. What if I read these books and they're full on trash? What if I hate them with every bit of my being? That's the worst case scenario here. But then I'm like, if I pass up on buying this special edition of this book I haven't read yet, and I end up reading it down the line and I love it, I will regret not having bought that special edition. I'm annoying! I'm annoying! That's like my nightmare as a book collector, which is also just like such a twisted way of thinking, because obviously the special edition should not matter. It's about the story, but when you collect books, it does matter. I'll be really excited about reading a book, but then if it like blows up and gets popular, I'll put off reading it. Don't get me wrong, I've read my fair share of popular books. Like I'm sure you can spot some here behind me, but more times than not, if I don't read a book before it blows up, it takes me a long time to read that newly popular book. It's mostly because I myself like let my thoughts kind of get twisted, my expectations kind of soar up high once a book gets really popular. And even though I typically can't stand the characters that fit into like the I'm not like all the other girls category, I tend to be similar in that way where if I see everyone reading a book, I don't want to read it. I want to be different. Unique. Of course, then I get major FOMO because everybody's talking about the book and loving the book and just living their best life. And I'm over here twiddling my thumbs with jealousy, thinking I could make better display tables or end caps in bookstores. Does anybody else like walk through Barnes & Noble or Books A Million and see their like end caps or their special tables and just judge the crap out of their curated displays? Because I do. I'm always like, I would not put that book on this table. I would switch those two around. I'd put that one here, that one over there. Yeah, that would be a lot better. Yeah, maybe I should just like go start picking out books and just make the table better. Yes, I do recognize the fact that I am one of the most annoying human beings on the planet. At least I own it. Always thinking I know what's gonna happen in a book and then pretty much always being blindsided. I'll admit it, sometimes I'm like on my high horse going into a book and I'm like, I know exactly what's gonna go down. I know exactly how it's gonna happen too. That's my bet. Now off to the races. And guess what ends up happening? I start to connect the dots and things never go quite as I expected them to. Though I will say the times that I'm correct hit different. And maybe those times when I have predicted things correctly is the reason that I sometimes go into a book thinking that I know exactly what's gonna happen. Yeah! Scouring my bookshelves for a new book to read when I have a literal stack of books that I'm in the middle of next to my bed. How is it that hard to finish a book that I started? I know the answer has to do with the fact that I'm a mood reader. Honestly, just being a mood reader wrecks my life completely. If I could just get rid of my mood reader side, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Giving recommendations, but rarely ever taking recommendations. I'm a walking book recommending machine. Even if no one is asking for book recommendations, I'm spewing them out. I can't help myself. The book club within me is overflowing. But I very rarely take book recommendations from other people. I'm like, no thank you. I'll just read what I want when I want. Yeah, I am trying to be better at this though. I am just the most stubborn boy ever. I'm really bad at giving authors a second chance when their books have done me wrong. If I've read a book by an author and I hated it, it's pretty difficult for me to give them another chance. Even though I recognize that people can grow in their craft and get better, it's just very hard to drop the fact that they've done me wrong already and had me rage reading one of their books. Lying to myself that I'm going to finish a series when I know good and well some of them are just going to sit there collecting dust till the end of time. I have a difficult time letting things go. When I've started a series, I want to be the type of person that like fully commits themselves to that series. But I think deep down in the depths of my soul, some of these series that I have on my bookshelves that are unfinished will always remain unfinished. I've always just had a hard time sticking with series, and it goes beyond books. Like even TV, I have such a hard time sticking to television shows. And it's something about myself that I just don't ever see changing, even though I would like to change it. Give me your tips down below in the comments. This ties along with the last one, buying a full series right away. Because I have this like series problem where like I really do not ever finish series. Like it's very rare that I finish a series. Why am I out here buying full series? Maybe it's this fear that I have that the books are going to go out of print or something and I just want to make sure that I have them. Or maybe I have this fear that the series is going to have a cover change that I'm not going to like. I think really the reason why I do this though is because I still convince myself. I lie to myself by saying, oh yeah, I can binge that series. I got that. I'm so good at binging series. When? I've done it like maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times. That's it. Me binge reading a series rarely happens. The last one is buying books when I think that there's a chance of them going out of print. I am guilty of this. I do it all the time. To be fair, I've had books in the past that I've wanted to read and they've gone out of print, making them nearly impossible to find. I've been burned in the past and I don't want to be burned again. But it's also kind of rare that a book that I want to read does actually end up going out of print. So, am I using it as an excuse to buy more books? Absolutely. Those are some of my toxic reader traits. Those are some things that I really need to work on. I probably need to go to therapy or something. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if you have any similar toxic reading traits, or just let me know some of your own toxic reader traits and I might be doing a video reacting to them, yeah! If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-yo! Unlike having an elevator pitch, unlike having an elevator pitch. I also slip into nonsense territory. And while typically I can't stand those characters, oh, there's a sticker in my sleeve. Hello? That's weird. And even though I can't, whoa! And even though I typically can't stand those characters that fit into the I'm not like all the other girls.